Hey guys, it's Peter! And I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm YouTube famous now. Somebody just asked me, they were like, on Snapchat, I went through and answered all like 200 of my Snapchats. I'm backing out of the post office. And they asked me, they said, how did you ever come up with that I'm YouTube famous thing? Okay, so, have you guys ever seen The Color Purple where Suge says, she goes and she sees her dad and she holds up her hand with the ring and she goes, "I'm married now." That's how it started. I'm YouTube famous now. Anyway, that's how that started. The Janis Joplin of YouTube started because I was like, it's my goal to spread peace and love on YouTube. Well, that really turned against me, didn't it? And yeah, so anyway, I have a little favor to ask of you, a little Christmas favor. Let me just say this before I ask you to do it. I follow so many YouTubers, okay? I subscribe to like literally tons and tons and tons of channels. Like, as soon as I find a channel that I like one video, I just subscribe to them. I don't even care. Like, if they come up in my feed and I don't want to watch them, I just don't, right? So, I'm asking you guys to do me a huge favor as a secret, because she watches my other channel, but I don't think she watches this channel, so she won't know it's happening, okay? And I just want to kind of have her go, oh my God, what's going on? So, one of my very good friend's daughters, Maddie, has a YouTube channel called Madison H. She and I on my BookTube channel do videos together, okay? We read and reviewed Me Before You, and then we started reading Cinder. She read Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I never finished it because I just got way behind in my reading, right? And that was supposed to be like in September, so I'm still supposed to do this. We're supposed to get together and talk, and if you want to see these videos, it's Maddie and Peter chat. It's on my BookTube channel, and they're really cute. She's adorable, okay? And she's 12, and she is vlogging every day, doing Vlogmas. And I'm gonna link her channel below. I owe her big because I haven't done the Cinder video with her, which I'm listening to right now on Audible, and we're gonna do it in January, because I'm gonna get back on doing that with her. I don't make promises to kids and not follow through. I don't like when people make promises to kids and don't follow through, and I absolutely adore her. And she's one of the neatest, most creative, most intellectual 12-year-olds, and she's so loving, and she's just the coolest girl in the entire world, and I adore her whole family. If you guys could go follow her and subscribe to her channel, that would make my life, and it would just excite the hell out of this 12-year-old girl. So I'm gonna link her channel below. It would be a really nice thing to do for holiday spirit, to just lift somebody's spirits and do something really, really positive. She is so awesome. She is such a neat young lady. If I had a daughter, I would want her to be just like her. So I'm linking her channel below. It's Madison H. It'll be the first thing it comes to underneath my video, okay? Underneath whatever my little title is. Anyway, I wanted to do another vlog tonight, and so many people ask me about, I talk a lot on here about like spirits and psychics and how like I'm kind of addicted to psychics, and somebody named Christopher, hello Christopher, just said, if you ever want a tarot card reading, just let me know. I would love a tarot card reading. I would love reading from psychics. If you're psychics out there and you want to, or mediums, and you want to give me a free reading, just let me know, email me, and I will call you that quick. I mean, that seriously. I love psychics and mediums. I don't care if they're fake or real. I just love them. I've been to a lot, and I've only ever really had one true experience, and so I thought I'd just kind of share that story on here tonight, because so many people want to know. They're like, have you ever been to a psychic? What was that experience like? The year after my mom passed away, that Halloween, I really wanted to go. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was around Halloween, but my friend Tanya wanted to go. She had never been to a psychic, and she was raised in kind of a religion that looked down on that, so she had always wanted to go, and she just wanted to do it for fun and games. And right before we went in, she booked these psychics, and it was in like this new age kind of, it was new age people. It's this place in Indianapolis. It was very cheap. It doesn't cost a lot, and you go see these psychics. So she was like, I also had a dog that I had just had put to sleep like 2 weeks before that. And so she said, I booked you for this person because, and my best friend owns a dog kennel, so she was like, this other guy supposedly is a pet psychic, and since you just had your dog put to sleep, I didn't want to, have you go see him. And I was like, no, I want to go see that guy. If he's a pet psychic, maybe he can like channel him, right? You guys are like, Peter, you're crazy. But anyway, so I went and I saw this guy, and his name was, I can't remember what I think it was Paul, and he like, his lights were on in the room, and it was very bizarre, and he had me sign this paper that said it was for entertainment purposes only, and he got very frustrated with me, and he kept on talking about a baby that I had but that miscarried, and I was like, no, and he was like, and then he was like, your life cycle is a 1, no you're a 9, no you're a 1, and then he started talking about me having a baby, and I was like, no, you're wrong, and he was like, what do you mean? I mean, I sat and listened to it for a second, and then I was like, you're wrong. And he goes, what do you mean I'm wrong? And I go, you're wrong, I don't have a baby. And he goes, no, like you had sex, but the baby just never happened. And I go, no, dude, I'm a golden star. And he goes, what? And I go, I'm a golden star. I've never had sex with a woman. That's impossible. He goes, you're blocking me. Just get out. I won't even charge you. So he like kicked me out, and I didn't even have to pay for the session, but I was so pissed. I was like, this is so fake. I can't even believe this. So anyway, and you know how I can't stand that. So anyway, I go out to the car, and I'm sitting down there, and I'm waiting for Tanya, and she comes out, and she gets into my car, and she had met with this guy named Dave, right? Who, when he walked out to get her, it was like this Indian guy with like just this jeans and sweater on, very calm. He was like, Tanya? I mean, he was very calm. I was like, oh, I totally should have gone with him, right? So she gets in the car, and I was like, yeah, that was a bunch of bullshit, wasn't it? And she turned to me, no lie, this is a woman that does not believe in this stuff, okay? She turned to me, and she goes, tears in her eyes, she goes, that was the most amazing experience I've ever had in my entire life. I go, excuse me? She was like, Peter, she was like, and so she told me all this stuff that he said, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to him now. And I got on the phone, like we were in the parking lot, and I called and I said, does he have any other appointments? And they're like, yeah, he has an appointment at 2 o'clock. So I booked an appointment for 2 o'clock, and we drove around, and then we came back. And so I went in and I sat down, and no paper did I sign for entertainment purposes only. It was low lit. He had this like shawl, like Stevie Nicks, over the lamp, and he sat there, and I sat across from him at a desk, and he goes, do you mind if I say a prayer before we start? And I said, absolutely not. Like, yes, that's fine. And so he said this prayer, and then he like, there was a chair against the wall, and he like looked over at this chair, and he said, and I had not told him anything, nothing, okay? And Tanya said he didn't, like, she didn't know I was gonna go to him, so she didn't tell him anything, and he only knew my first name, and he said, your mother passed away 8 months ago. It was like almost exactly 8 months to the date, and he was like, and she's sitting in that chair right there, and she wants to give you a hug. He goes, she keeps on saying something about wanting to give you a hug. Would her be wanting to give you a hug mean something to you? And I lost it, okay? Because I had said to so many people, when people would say, what do you miss most about your mom? I said, I miss her hugs. And he was like, so I told him that, and he was like, well, and the other side he described as like this room where he would communicate with them, and it was like this other, he called it, he just kept on saying this room where like all the people that he was like, channeling, or not channeling, but he was a medium that he was talking with, and he would like look up like this, close his eyes and look up. And so anyway, he said everybody's sitting around him, and so he said, and it was really, really interesting, some of the things that he told me. Some of them are really, really private. He told me that I had a brother on the other side that had died had died before he was born, and he explained how he looked. And what's so interesting about this is I've had images of who this would be in my head my entire life, okay? And he explained things like that when we go to the other side, we all go as like a certain age, and that you're kind of like, unless you die as a child, right? Or something like that. But like soul stays the same age to some degree, or something like that. And I found out later, after the fact, that my mom had a miscarriage that I never knew about. So anyway, we were sitting there, and the other guy kept on talking about a red dog. Like when I was seeing this other guy, he kept on saying, there's a red dog, there's a red dog, there's a red dog that looks after you and protects you. Have you ever had a red dog? And I was like, I've never had a red dog. And the guy was like, I keep on hearing red dog, red dog. So this guy keeps on talking about red dog. Do you have a red dog? And I'm like, the other guy said that too, and I don't know anything about a red dog. Oh, he also told me how my mom died. He said, your mom died from kidney failure. He goes, she had another disease, but she died of kidney failure, which is true. My mom had Wegener's vasculitis, and then she died of kidney failure related to it because it's not a fatal disease, but it took over, and she wasn't able to fix it before. Anyway, it just got out of control, and then she died of kidney failure. And he was like, she died of kidney failure, but she actually had another disease first. I was like, how does he know this? And he said what her first name was. He said what her first name nickname was, not what her first real name was, which blew me away. And then he said, like, if I'm not gonna say it, but like so like Paula, if her nickname was Paula, he said Paul. Does that make sense? Like a man. He goes, your mom has like a man's name. And I was like, what? And he was like, your mom has a man's name. And I was like, okay. Like, and it's really weird because my mom has a very bizarre name. Like, nobody would have known it. Like, her nickname was bizarre. So anyway, he kept on talking about this red dog, and I go, no, but do you see another dog there? And he goes, no, I don't see any other dogs there. And I had the Jack Russell was who I had just put to sleep. He goes, you didn't have a red dog? And he goes, like big red dog, like the big red dog Clifford in the books. And I go, oh my God. When I was growing up, I had an Airedale, like until I was like 16 years old at my dad's house, who this dog always followed me around and watched over me. And I swear to God, if there's like spirits in the background in this video, I will die. But anyway, I had Clifford, and I named him Clifford after the big red dog. I literally lost my shit, right? So then he comes forward and he's talking about how, he goes, your grandfather's just entered the room. And he said, you look a lot like your mother's grandfather. Well, my mom's father died when she was 4, so I never knew him. But everybody said that I looked like pictures of him, which was interesting. Don't you hate it when you do your windshield wipers and that one place right in the middle is the one place that doesn't clean up? It's like, seriously, dude, like what are my windshield wipers for? Just, anyway. So, and then he said, your other grandfather is in like military fatigues or military outfit, which is interesting because my dad's dad was buried like with a military funeral. And he was also a homicide detective, which my grandfather was. He said homicide detective, and my grandfather was a homicide detective. And he said, was he really famous for doing something with like a serial killer? My grandfather solved one of the very first serial killer cases in the country. And so anyway, this went on and on and on. And then all of a sudden he goes, oh my God, he goes, the big red dog just moved, and underneath him was standing this little white dog with brown ears. I was like, seriously? And he goes, and he had a brown tail. So my dog was completely white, my Jack Russell, except for he had brown ears and a brown tail, okay? I mean, I'm seriously at this point floored. Then he tells me about my grandmothers are both there, and they were like telling me all this different kind of stuff. And he goes, you have 2 different grandmothers, and he goes, and both of their names, one of their name starts with this, and the other one's name starts with that. And he was like, your one grandmother's name sounds like this, and it was literally 1 letter off. I mean, this guy was so spot on. $20 for a half an hour, and I booked an hour. Okay, so $40 for an hour. I could not believe it. It was unbelievable. He told me, he said, this is what, he goes, you just got out of a relationship a year ago, and this is what this person looked like. And I said, well, am I supposed to be with that person or the person that I'm with now? And he told me, he goes, you and the person that you're with now will end up getting married. He goes, and this was before like same-sex marriage was even on the table, right? And he was like, but you guys will have a very difficult relationship your first 3 years, but after 3 years, it'll be a great relationship. He said, you will be brought into his family. And then he started saying all this kind of stuff, and I said, okay, so he goes, do you have any questions for me? And I said, yeah, I want to know, will I ever have a book written? And he said, yes, you will have it written. And I said, will I be signed with a publisher? And he goes, yes, you'll be signed with a publisher. And I said, is it somebody like in New York? And he said, no, east. And I said, east of New York? And he goes, yes, India. I go, excuse me? And he goes, your publisher will be out of India. My publisher, who I know from the United States, I know her, okay, because she's from here. She lives in India. And I hadn't even met her at the time. Like, I didn't even know this woman at the time, okay? And then he said, you and your husband started a website. It's going to blow up, and something. It's going to be about handing out pamphlets. He goes, but you're going to end up being known for talking to people and asking them questions. Well, we hadn't even started doing interviews. And I mean, you guys, it was baffling, the things he told me. I mean, he told me so many things. The one thing he told me was that there was something in my basement that was worth quite a bit of money. And he said how much money it was, like astronomical. a lot of money. I have scoured that basement, baby. I can't find nothing down in that basement. I have looked all over that place. I'm like, where is this? He told me exactly where to look and everything. I've looked everywhere. I've cleaned up my whole basement. There's nothing down there. I can't find anything. I'm like, this is what? And so there's nothing down there. The other thing is interesting is that I had a client a long time ago, and the guy said that he had an angel that prophesies things to him, and but very real. It was almost borderline bizarre, and he told me he could touch his wings and things like that. And this guy was not wacky, like completely 100% normal, except for this one reason, and that was not why I was seeing him. And he actually, back in the day when I talked to him, because at that time I didn't have a YouTube channel, but I had a blog, and he said, I want you to share my story with people. And I won't say his name, obviously, but he would come in and he would talk about like the Middle East. He was very consumed with the Middle East. And one day he said to me, something about Japan, and he goes, there's gonna be a horrible earthquake in Japan. And literally like 3 hours later is when that whole thing happened with the nuclear place in Japan. And then one day he said to me, he goes, you're gonna move offices. And I had known that my landlord had filed bankruptcy and was moving his office. And I had to move my office, and I was like, had to find a place in like a week, right? And I had no idea where to go. And I was looking at all this one street. I was looking there, and he goes, you're gonna be driving home from work today, and he goes, look up. And I was sitting at a stop sign, like a stoplight like this, and I like looked up and it said office for rent, and that was where I ended up getting my office. Then one day he came in and he said, you're gonna be on TV today. He goes, no, he said, Michael said you're gonna be on TV today, and Michael is his angel. And I go, no, I'm not. And he goes, yeah, Michael said you're gonna be on TV today. And I go, okay, whatever. And it was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and he left. 20 minutes after he left, I got a call from this local station here in Indianapolis, and they wanted me to come on TV and talk about Whitney Houston and Charlie Sheen and their addiction issues. Seriously, I have had people all my life tell me that I'm an empath and a natural medium, and I'm like, if I am, please, could you just bring it on, and then I could be Peter the Medium and have my own reality show? That's what I want so bad. Anyway, those are two of my experiences with things. I have had it all around my life constantly. People used to stop my mom on the street when I was a little kid, and they would say, people would stop her, and I mean, not all the time, but like it would happen often, and they would say, your child has a gift. He has a natural gift. Isn't that so weird? I wish I did. Anyway, let me know your psychic stories in the place below, in the comments below, and if you want to hear more, let me know, okay? And follow Maddie. I'm linking her below. I love you guys. Bye.